Oshkosh Media is government programming on GovTV, community programming on Life TV, and community radio on Oshkosh FM 101.9.
Welcome to the City Manager's Report, a look at city updates and a preview of the next Oshkosh Common Council meeting agenda.
And thanks for joining us for this edition of the City Manager's Report. I'm Andy Radig, and in a moment we'll be joined by City Manager Mark Roloff. As usual, in the first half of today's show, we'll have some municipal news updates, including information from city departments and news that residents can use. In the second half, we'll highlight items from the upcoming Tuesday, January 23rd, Oshkosh Common Council meeting agenda. And with that, we bring in our City Manager, Mark Roloff. Mark, thank you for being here today.
Great to be here, Andy.
Well, we have a lot to talk about, and I know that on the last show we talked a little bit about special assessments and the potential change that might be coming to Oshkosh with regard to that topic. And we want to talk a little bit more about that today. And, you know, we could start out just by talking a little bit about the background of special assessments and what sort of things are paid for by special assessments.
Yeah, because what we're trying to do is identify what special assessments would be eliminated. So because we want to replace them with something that I think council believes is more fair and equitable over the long term to residents. So it's really about street reconstruction costs, utility laterals that the city will get from the main right up to your property line in the public right-of-way. Sidewalk as well as driveway aprons. Those currently are special assessed when we do a project, and it can mean cost of $10,000 to $20,000 or even more for some residential folks, to say nothing of what would be for commercial and industrial. So the idea is to get rid of those special assessments.
Okay, and even with a new method of charging for special assessments, what improvements would still receive a special assessment even after this change?
Right, because it's not going to eliminate everything. In fact, there are some requirements that by Public Service Commission regulations that we still need to special assess to a benefiting property because that property specifically benefits. And that's for water and wastewater laterals to a property that we provide to them. They'll still have to pay for that. And then we all paid, usually we've paid it in the price of our home, but any new development, they have to pay for the first time to get that service provided to them. Afterwards, new water mains and sewer mains are replaced and taken care of through your utility bill, but this will eliminate streets only, but your new developments and brand new utility construction, those will continue to be assessed. So we just want to make sure that people understand that as we're going through this process.
Okay, all right. And I know that in the past, even myself, I received an assessment for sidewalk replacement. What would the status of sidewalk replacement be going forward?
The intent is that the sidewalk assessments, and pretty much we cover, we get through the entire city every 10 years. So if you've been a property owner for 10 years or more, you've had it at least once where you've been special assessed. Those special assessments would go away, and those are ones where your sidewalk's marked and then we notify you that so many sidewalk squares are potentially to be replaced. Those would go away as well. And I know that that's probably, from staff standpoint, it's the most voluminous because to send you an assessment for a couple $100 or several $1,000s, from staff standpoint, it's about the same amount of work. But the number of special assessments we send out, and they're actually considered special charges for sidewalk, we're sending out about 2,500 a year. Okay. So it's really a lot of work, and quite honestly, I think for the resident, it's somewhat of an annoyance. So the idea is to take away that little charge that hits you all the time, once every 10 years, and certainly will lower the workload for the public works employees and let them focus more on getting actual work done, actual projects done.
Okay, all right, well that makes a lot of sense. I know that there's a lot more that we could talk about with this. Why don't we plan on continuing this conversation in future episodes, and we can get some more information out there in addition to other public information means that we have.
Yeah, I think council wants to take final action on this by the end of February. So you're going to be hearing a lot from us, from me, about what we're going to be doing relative to what we're proposing here. We want to make sure people understand what they are and aren't paying for, and that's certainly part of it. And the vehicle registration fee is a big component of that. That's going to have a lot of questions, and we'll talk more about that later.
Okay, and keep an eye on the city's Facebook page as well for more information about special assessments and potential changes to come. Okay, Mark, another topic that has come around is that there seems to be potentially a shortage of liquor licenses for establishments in the city. And I know that this was a topic way in the past that there was a shortage, and it seems as though this might be coming around again.
Yeah, as recent as a year ago, we probably had 8 available liquor licenses, and these are they're technically called combination Class B liquor licenses, and that's required for all full service bars, restaurants, and establishments that sell beer, wine, and liquor, primarily liquor for on-premise consumption. And that's and we have a limited number by state law, and so once we give away one of those licenses, it's very difficult to take it back unless there's some clear violation. So generally, once we give them away or issue them, unless they're turned back voluntarily by the owner, they're pretty much out there. So the turnover has slowed down, and the demand for them, I mean, you've seen some restaurants up and down I-41, some new places in the downtown area. That's all great news as far as I'm concerned.
Sure.
But we're limited in what we can list, so we can't issue a bunch of them. So we're down to 2, and we actually have 2 active requests along with 1 potential request. And rather than just give them away and then not have a thought process, I felt it was appropriate to hold off on issuing these Class B liquor licenses until we can talk to businesses about that may or may not be using these things completely, that may have closed and we don't know about. So we want to check these things out, do a little bit of an audit of what's going on out there before we go to council and ask them to issue more licenses. Council has every right to choose which licensees receive one, and that's a privilege. It's not a right. Once they have it, it becomes a right. So before we go out and issue a license, we do have the ability to be a little more, evaluate these things, be a little discriminating in terms of what goals we want to achieve. And the council has not been asked that yet, and I think it's appropriate that they give staff direction on that so we know what priorities they want to give. And in the past, it's been quite controversial because you'd literally have multiple people out in front of council, begging for a request, and then the council has to pick winners and losers. Council doesn't like doing that, and frankly, I don't care much for it either. So we have to create perhaps some criteria upon which.
Sure.
Some places do it first come, first serve. I don't know when the demand's that high if that's the right method to use. So we're going to keep looking at these things in the coming months.
And there are different businesses that potentially might require a different type of license, and there are all those types of issues too.
Yeah, I think some people think, I need the combination Class B, and it's like, but if we find out what they really need, maybe we can satisfy them with a license that we don't have a limit on.
Sure.
So we have limits on some, but not all of them. So let's try to work with the business to make sure that we're meeting their need without taking away a capability of another, say a restaurant coming into town wants a liquor license. People are pretty used to seeing those restaurants having those liquor licenses. But if we don't have one, they may not come at all.
Right. Okay, very good. More to come on this topic as well. Well, another topic is that folks are fairly familiar with early voting and getting involved in the election process ahead of Election Day. And typically, early voting has taken place at City Hall. Well, there's a change coming in February that there's a new location for early voting.
Yeah, early voting has become increasingly popular, and that pretty much disrupts services at City Hall. Voting takes place on the first floor, so we've identified a location, 19 East Irving, that's right at the corner of Irving and Jefferson Street, and we have a good part of that facility devoted exclusively to early voting. Because at City Hall, it would interfere with other business, people paying utility bills, taxes, getting building permits even. So we have this location over here at Irving and Jefferson. It's centrally located, it's accessible, ADA accessible, and it's easily accessible by public transportation. So it has the city logo out there, and it's blue, so it says everything that's a City of Oshkosh.
It's the right spot.
And early voting is going to take place at that location beginning Tuesday, February 6th from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. And you'll see there's the schedule for in-person absentee voting in advance of the February primary, and that's only a judicial primary for Winnebago County. And as we get closer to general local elections, we'll have more information, but this is what applies to what's going on for the primary during February.
Okay, and for folks, they can also visit online myvote.wi.gov, and at that website they can register to vote, they can request an absentee ballot, they can find their polling place, and even look at a sample ballot. So that's kind of a one-stop shop there to get all of your election information in one place, and advise that you take a look at that and learn more. Okay, also then we have some information from Go Transit. They actually, this is kind of exciting, they have a new, they call it a Tripper bus. So it's kind of a special route that they have that will alleviate some crowding.
Yeah, it's a dedicated bus. There's been a Tripper bus serving Oshkosh North High School in the afternoons, and it's really helped alleviate crowding on that bus, particularly for that immediately after school route. And the cost for that Tripper has been shared between the Oshkosh Area School District and Go Transit, or the city. We have found that in the mornings we've had experience overcrowding each school day, and obviously it creates a crowded atmosphere, but it's a potentially unsafe atmosphere for our passengers and drivers. So we've had some great discussions with the Oshkosh Area School District. They've been a wonderful partner through this process, and school districts agreed to support a new second Tripper bus for the morning route with the same arrangement as the afternoon route, providing that relief in the morning hours. So that service is going to begin on January 23rd. So if you're a morning bus rider, you'll find that relief. It will take somebody from the downtown transit center out to Oshkosh North, and that's part of what it'll do to provide that necessary relief that you'll see during the school rush hour, so to speak.
Okay, and that aligns with the beginning of the second semester at the school district. So when they begin their new semester, they'll also have a new bus service that the students can look for. Okay. Then we also have some news from the Oshkosh Senior Center, and really specifically they have the Fox Fitness Center, which is a very nice facility that they have there. And I'm sure that folks might be kind of curious about it. Well, there's a great opportunity coming up where they can take a look.
You bet. On Thursday, January 25th, from noon to 3 p.m., the Senior Center is hosting its, and I'd say, annual Fitness Center open house. They've been doing this for several years now. Visitors can see the Fox Fitness Center's fitness equipment, they can watch class demonstrations, and they can chat with other community partners who focus on health related issues for senior citizens. It's a great resource for the road to aging well, so we're happy to be able to do that. The Senior Center partners with Share Wellness to share wellness information during the event. Visitors can sign up for door prizes, so there's a little incentive to go.
Sure.
Some of our partners include Network Health, of course, our fire department, which really focuses on fall prevention, Fusion Footwear, Winnebago County Health Department, and other community participants will also be at the event. And our Senior Center staff will also be available to help attendees check their Medicare Part B coverage for fitness benefits. Many of the Medicare plans cover the cost of using a fitness facility and taking classes. So we're happy to do that. And if you've got any questions in advance of the event, give Dan Brown, our Senior Services Manager, a call. The Senior Center number over there is 920-232-5300. And he or one of the Senior Center staff will give you more information about the upcoming open house on January 25.
We encourage folks to check that out. It should be a very interesting and good opportunity. Then we also have some news from the Oshkosh Fire Department. And, a lot of times in the council agendas, we see, purchases of fire apparatus and whatnot. Well, the exciting side of it is when they go into service. And we have a new one over at Station 18, a new pumper truck.
We sure do. It's a new 2023 Pierce Velocity pumper that's now in service. And you said Station 18, so it's Engine 18. Station 18 is located at the corner of Bowen and Murdoch. This truck serves the northeast side of the city with a crew of 3 firefighters. That new apparatus will allow the fire department to remove a 1997 Pierce pumper from its active roster. And generally, 20 to 25 years is about the life that meets our needs. So we're happy to get this new truck in service and serving the citizens of Oshkosh and keeping properties and people safe.
Look for it on the roads. Okay. Then we also wanted to inform folks that there's one opportunity left for them to dispose of their Christmas tree at the curbside. I still see some Christmas trees around, so apparently there's another opportunity.
Yeah, one more week, January 22nd through 26th, we'll do one final pass through town. And just a few things, little tips there. It's going to be collected on your regularly scheduled garbage collection day. So we just ask you to remove the decorations, lights, tree stands, get them out of any plastic bags that you may use to get them out of the house. Please place it on the terrace or your driveway apron no later than 7 a.m. on that regularly scheduled garbage day. And of course, remove the decorations, lights, the tree stand, ornaments that you don't want, you put them in the regular garbage. Don't leave them on the tree. And also Christmas wreaths, garlands, or swags that contain that metal frame or artificial trees. Those should also be placed in your garbage cart, not on the curbside as a tree. So you can also, if you don't want to leave it on the curb, you can drop it off at the city's yard waste drop-off site. That's over on 3rd Avenue. Winter hours are currently in effect. 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday. We are closed on weekends and city holidays, so just be aware of that. If you use the Yard Waste Drop-Off Center, you need the city's 2024 Yard Waste Drop-Off sticker. So just remember to do that if you haven't done it already. You can get those stickers at City Hall or over at Kits and File Hardware.
Okay, well, good information. I think it's about time that we take a short break. And if you stay with us, we'll have some highlights from the upcoming Oshkosh Common Council meeting agenda. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the City Manager's Report. I'm Andy Radig, along with City Manager Mark Roloff. Let's turn our attention to the agenda items from the upcoming Tuesday, January 23rd Oshkosh Common Council meeting. So, Mark, as we take a look at the agenda for that meeting, it looks like we have an introduction of some new staff right at the beginning.
Yeah, we're very excited with the new year to be able to do this. The first person is going to be somebody who's familiar to a lot of folks. Jerry Fabish is our new chief building official. Jerry was a plumbing inspector in the Inspection Services Division, so he's just moving up to take that role, and I think he'll do a great job. He's been serving our community very well as the plumbing inspector for many years now, so he'll be taking on those responsibilities, so we're real happy with that. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, we also are very happy to be able to introduce to the community our new library director, Daryl Eshtay. The library board selected Mr. Eshtay after a nationwide search.
Right.
He comes to us from West Des Moines, Iowa, and he's also had some experience in Louisiana and here in Wisconsin before he came here. So Daryl just started this past week, and so this will be his first introduction to the greater community. So we're happy to have Daryl on board.
All right, very good. Then we also have a presentation up front in the meeting, and this is a TIF development agreement presentation. This has to do with that new micro hospital, I believe.
Yes, the announcement was made a while back by Theta Care, and they've since Theta Care and Froedtert were working on this together. Now they're merging, so a part of the delay was them getting all that done. But this is kind of a conceptual rendering of what they're looking at. This will be pretty much near Oregon and 6th Avenue. And one of the things that they're doing is anytime somebody is making a request for tax increment financing support, they typically make a presentation. The tax increment district actually has already been approved and created by the council like 6 years ago, when it was just more of a concept for the whole area, but the hospital wasn't proposed at that time. Now that Theta Care and Froedtert have done their due diligence, we all know from our understanding and our history here that there are a lot of factories and that were down there, and there's been contamination, and it appears as though that environmental contamination issues are far more extensive than originally imagined, and that is what is typically qualified for as an extraordinary cost. So the folks at Theta Care Froedtert want to make an explanation to council of that. It's called Align Medical Oshkosh is the name of the group. That's the Theta Care Froedtert Health combination. And they're just going to explain some of the costs that have increased, and it's very expensive to deal with environmental contamination. And I think that this represents an opportunity to get rid of that contamination and have a great addition to the community. So I've had discussions with the folks with the Align Medical Center Oshkosh, and I think they're prepared to make a presentation and explain this to council.
Okay, very good. Then as we get into the consent agenda, we have an item for a professional services agreement amendment, and this relates to the work that was done over by Menominee Park that cleared out one of those water intake pipes for our water treatment facility.
Yeah, now that we're at the end of the project, we're able to take a look at what additional costs that were required by the Department of Natural Resources on reporting and monitoring this. So this is obviously a dated photo because that was before all the snow and all the cold really hit, and that was the deadline we really wanted to follow. So I'm happy to report that the cleaning is done, and really this is one of the administrative cleanup items that we're doing is just getting the final contract with the engineering firm that assisted us with this. So you won't see any of this now because all the stuff is gone from the site, and happy to report it. The intake pipe is 100% cleaned out now.
Okay, that whole project is all done.
Yes, and we're quite excited about it.
All right, very good. Then also on the consent agenda, we have awarding a bid for a new roof, and this is over at the Oshkosh Public Library. So we're trying to take good care of all of our facilities.
Right. A lot of people may remember who've been here for a while that this is the original roof from the 1993 reconstruction of the library. So this is on the back side, not the front side as you're seeing there, but that's what everybody sees as the library. But over there, this roof replacement, it's just for a portion of the roof. We've already replaced a small portion of it, but it's nearly $200,000. We budget about $600,000 annually for roof and HVAC, heating, air conditioning replacements. And we prioritize this with a consulting firm, which projects are in most need of replacement, the highest priority, and it's the library's turn. And we're happy to get this done because it's over a 30-year roof, and generally those roofs, we're lucky if we get 20, even 25 years. The fact that we got 30 years out of it, we got good value out of it, but we cannot push our luck on these. We need to get these things replaced, and so we're happy to be able to get this done with the annual allowance that council provides for staff to get these projects done. But this is going to burn up a third of the money we have for that project. So that money goes fast, but it's put to good use because it really saves on maintenance, because if you don't take care of it now, you'll definitely be paying for it later.
Could lead to other issues. Yeah, okay. All right, and then we also have an item we're taking a look at appropriating some American Rescue Plan Act funds, and this is for infrastructure projects.
Right. The council had taken out of our $20.5 million allocation, dedicated 75% of it to infrastructure projects, pretty much items that are in our capital improvement program. So, but they range from streets to facilities to parks and whatnot. And we've identified a few more projects in there. In particular, a little more work over on Pratt Trail because of all the archaeological finds we did there. A little bit more with some associated with the fire station, the fire training center, and a couple other projects that are there. We are down to about $1.7 million in this fund, and we have to have everything committed or identified by the end of 2024. And I think what we'd like to do is we don't want to take any chances. We want to make sure that we can spend that money and use it completely. So my goal is to try to get it used by the end of the year, but we're going back to council each time we have another round of allocations, and so we'll be coming back to council, I suspect, a couple more times over the course of this year.
Okay, and just very briefly, there's information forthcoming about other non-infrastructure applications that can be submitted for some of this funding.
Correct. The other 25% is for non-infrastructure, primarily nonprofit entities, but not exclusively. And the council's asked me to get some information out. I'll be reporting a little bit to council about that at the meeting, and getting the word out to talk to community groups that may qualify for those as well. So again, we have to commit those funds by the end of the year. So getting the applications in and granting funds, even though we may not write a check immediately, we want to make sure that we get those folks taken care of as soon as possible.
Okay, so stay tuned for more information about that potential funding and the application process that will be available. Okay, then we also have an item where we are approving an agreement, and this relates to the Fire Training Center for the Oshkosh Fire Department. And I know that we did build in the past a training tower over there.
Yeah, this is over on Sawyer, where we had identified this for a fire training center, but the reason we haven't gotten it done is because the first thing we had to do is move out the current tenants, which are other city department brothers and sisters of the fire department. So we talked earlier about 19th East Irving, where the clerk's office has moved, but we also had our facilities maintenance division move some of their operations over there, as well as our museum, some extra storage. So the only remaining tenant over at the training center is the police department, and we're constructing a new building for them over on 3rd Avenue. So once everybody's moved out, fire department will be able to start the work. So this is to get the design work done and get it all set ready for bidding later on this year. And then the police will be out by then, and then the fire department can start making this a building of their own. The only training they use right now is the training tower you see right here, but internally it will be a training facility more inside. It'll be more the bookish classroom type of stuff, but it'll also serve as our emergency operations center. We currently use the basement of the fire department, and to be honest with you, it's very crowded there. During COVID, it was extremely crowded, and quite honestly, it just wasn't safe. So it's something we need to get done, and we're happy to get that done and get the fire training facility off the ground.
Okay. Well, it's good to see that part of it is moving along there with the new tower, and now they can complete the rest of it. Well, Mark, I think that's about all the time that we have for today's show, and we really thank you for all the information and insights.
Always a pleasure, Andy.
And thank you for joining us today. Again, that Oshkosh Common Council meeting is at 6 p.m. this Tuesday, January 23rd at City Hall, which is located at 215 Church Avenue. You can watch that meeting live on GovTV, Spectrum Channel 10, UVerse Channel 99, $7.99 and streaming on YouTube and OshkoshMedia.org. Or you can listen to it on the radio, which is Oshkosh FM 101.9, which is also online and on the TuneIn Radio app for phones and tablets. You can also use your favorite streaming device, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Apple TV. Just search for the Oshkosh Media app. And please join us again for another City Managers Report. Thanks for watching.